Trae Young just entered free agency, and the question everyone's asking is simple: where does he go? But that's the wrong question, because the right one has two halves. Which team actually fits him on the floor, and which team can actually make him an offer? Get both right, and you find his real best fit. So I scored every realistic landing spot on both. Here's the plan. First, who Trae actually is right now, the good and the warts. Then the market reality, why this isn't as simple as picking a team with cap space. Then my two-part test, roster fit and the offer. And finally, the team that wins both. His numbers are verified, the cap rules are real, and the fits are my analysis. Let's start with the player. This is Game is Culture. Quick thing first, if you like free agency broken down by fit and cap math instead of just hype, subscribe. It's free and it helps a ton. Now, who is Trae right now? Who Trae Young is right now? Let's be clear about the talent. For his career, Trae averages 25 points and nearly 10 assists a game, on 58% true shooting. He's one of the best pure playmakers and pick and roll creators alive. 2 seasons ago, he put up almost 12 assists a night. When it comes to running an offense and bending a defense, very few guards on earth do it better. But here are the warts, and they're real. Trae is a minus defender that opponents target in the playoffs. His career plus minus is actually negative. And in 7 seasons, he's reached the conference finals exactly once, back in 2021. Elite offense, real questions about winning. That tension is the entire reason this free agency is so interesting. Now, in fairness, we have seen the ceiling. Back in 2021, with the right pieces around him, Trae dragged the Hawks all the way to the conference finals. And that season, he posted a plus 267, by far the best mark of his career. So the blueprint exists. Surround him correctly, and he's a winning offensive engine. Strand him on a bad roster, and the warts take over. The roster around him is the whole story, and his timing could be better. This past season, Trae was traded from Atlanta to Washington, and an injury limited him to only about 15 games. He finished the year on the Wizards, who went 17-65, the worst record in the league. So he hits the market off a lost season on a losing team. His talent is enormous. His leverage right now is not. The market reality. Now, the part most takes ignore. There is no team with cap space to just sign him. Under the 2026-27 rules, with the cap around 165 million and the aprons above, 0 teams are projected to have real room. So Trae isn't picking from open checkbooks. The only realistic path is a sign and trade, where Washington sends him out and gets assets back. That changes everything about who can actually land him. So that's why fit alone isn't enough. A team could be a perfect basketball match and still have no way to actually get him. You need both, a roster that makes him better and the assets plus cap mechanics to complete a deal Washington says yes to. That's my 2-part test. Let's define what a perfect Trae roster even looks like. What a perfect Trae roster looks like. 3 things. 1. Real defense around him. Wings and a rim protector to hide the matchup he gives up. 2. Shooting, because his gravity is wasted if defenses can sag off his teammates. And 3. A vertical rim runner for his lob passes. Give Trae a defensive backbone and shooters, and his weaknesses get covered while his playmaking gets unleashed. Take those away and you get the Hawks and Wizards all over again. Picture it actually working. Trae draws 2 defenders the second he crosses half court. Put him on a roster full of shooters and cutters, and that's a 4-on-3 every possession, which is exactly how he racked up nearly 12 assists a night just 2 years ago. The right team doesn't merely tolerate his style, it multiplies it. So I plotted the realistic suitors on both axes. Roster fit across the bottom, how cleanly he completes the team. Offer up the side, how good a sign and trade and role they can actually put together. The dream lives in the top right, great fit and a real offer. And one team sits there almost alone. The contenders for his signature. Look at the foils first. A rebuilding team like the Nets could offer the most. Picks, young players, a starring role, but the fit is poor. Trae doesn't move the needle on a team that isn't ready to win. Meanwhile, a win-now team like the Heat fits his timeline, but they're capped out and short on the assets to build a deal. Great offer with bad fit, or good fit with no offer. Neither checks both boxes. Quick halftime note, if you want the winner and the catch, stick around and subscribe while you're here. It's free. Now, the one team that checks both boxes. The best fit. It's the Orlando Magic, and it's almost too clean. The Magic already have one of the best young defenses in the league, long, switchable wings who can completely hide Trae's matchup. What they have lacked for years is exactly what he does best, shot creation and playmaking. He fixes their biggest weakness, and they erase his. That's the rarest thing in a fit, two teams solving each other's problem in one move. And crucially, Orlando can make the offer where others can't. They have the young players and draft picks to build a sign and trade Washington would actually take. And they can hand Trae the lead ball handling role he wants on a rising team. Compare that to the Nets, who can offer more assets but no winning, and the gap is obvious. Orlando wins both halves of the test. So that's the verdict. On a combined score of fit and offer, the Orlando Magic are Trae Young's best landing spot, and it isn't especially close. They mask his defense, they need his creation, and they have the pieces to actually get the deal done. If this signing makes sense anywhere, it makes the most sense in Orlando. But here's the honest catch, and Orlando has to weigh it. Trae's defense has been a playoff liability his whole career, and a great defensive team is betting it can absorb that for his offense. Add the injury risk off a lost season, and it's a real gamble. The fit is beautiful on paper. Whether his weaknesses sink a contender in May is the question only the playoffs answer. Where could I be wrong? If a capped out contender gets creative, or a rebuilder simply overwhelms everyone with assets, Trae could land somewhere I have lower. And reporting moves fast in free agency, but on the math that matters, fit plus the ability to actually make an offer, one team checks both boxes better than the rest. That's Orlando. So you tell me, is Orlando the obvious answer, masking his defense while he fixes their offense? Or would you send Trae somewhere else entirely? He's got the talent of a star and the baggage of a gamble, and now a whole market to choose from. Drop your pick below. And we are so close to 1,000 subs, so subscribe to stay up to date.